Danny Flynn is the head coach and the director of hockey operations with the Moncton Wildcats. 15 picks later, and I guess the interesting question and the one that needs answering is, did you get what you were looking for?
I think we're like every team. Everybody leaves the draft in first place, and everybody thinks they had a good draft. But I can say that as far as our planning going in and where we saw guys slotted in our draft, we had a real good day in terms of getting the guys that we want. We didn't get them all. You never do. But overall, we were really pleased with how things fell into place.
Looking at the stats, Danny, you have 11 who are 16 years of age and 4 who are 15. Was that deliberate?
Yeah, we'll send a couple of those young kids back to midget. We'll keep a couple of the 15-year-olds on our team. And the 16-year-olds it'll be a real competitive camp. We've had back-to-back real deep drafts. We had a good rookie crop last year and a couple good kids waiting in the wings in midget AAA. And then they'll join this year's draft class as well. So we're really starting to build some draft depth and some quality in the organization.
Let's talk about the people that you picked. You got Boucher as the number 5 pick, and then you went with Donnelly for your second pick.
Yeah, well, Raphael's a real good two-way forward. He's got good wheels and good hockey sense and just a smart player. And he's 15 years old. He has to fill a little bit, but he's going to be a very good player and has potential to be a first-line guy here for sure. Dylan Donnelly is a different type of player. He's a stay-at-home D, kind of a Brian Marchman type D. I coached Brian and Junior a long time ago. But a physical D and a hard-nosed type of kid. And as he polishes up his game, he's going to give us that defensive with some presence and ability that are hard to find.
You drafted a goaltender in the 3rd round.
I know we took Scott Trask in the 3rd round from Newfoundland. Okay. He's more of a hard-working, kind of Zach Sill type of forward.
Okay.
We really liked him. We pushed him up in the draft, probably higher than he was originally ranked because a lot of teams didn't see the kids in Newfoundland. But he plays like a Robert Slaney or a Zach Sill. He's a hard-nosed, competitive, hard-working forward, and with a good touch around the net, scored 25 or 26 goals. So we were really happy to get him. We were really concerned that he might not get to us in the 3rd round, and we crossed our fingers that he would be there for us.
Okay. One of the concerns, of course, is the goaltending, because if Riopel moves on to a pro career, that leaves Louis Domingue as a 17-year-old as your lead goaltender.
Yeah, we're in a situation where we have to wait and see what happens with Nicolas Riopel and whether he returns here. We'll have a little bit better idea after the NHL draft when he's selected and what the team tells us. But Louis Domingue is one of the 4 goalies selected for the National Under-18 team. He's one of the very best 16-year-old goalies in the country. He'll be 17 this year with a year under his belt. Wendell Vai was the Maritime Junior A-League Rookie of the Year. Did a great job with the Dieppe Commandos. We got a free agent goaltender that we'll add on tryout this week that we like. And we drafted a goalie in the 8th round, Brian Bill, an American, who's one of the very best goalies in the Eastern United States. And if we get him sooner or later, he's a quality goalie as well.
Okay, and you pulled off a real dandy. You got the Twins.
Well, you know, it was... again, like you said, you need to catch a little bit of luck along the way, and we tried to trade up and get a 3rd round pick and take them both in the 3rd round, and we couldn't get our hands on that pick. So when the 4th round unfolded, we had back-to-back picks and a 5th round pick. So we were going to take them initially back-to-back 4, but there was a player named Cedric LeBlanc who we really like, who we thought would be a 2nd round pick that was there. So we said, let's take Cedric with the first 4. Let's take one of the Sauniers with the 2nd one, and hopefully we'll get a hometown discount, and we can take the other guy in the 5th round. So.
And I mean, they were adamant. They were determined to play together.
No question, and they told they weren't trying to pick their spot. They just wanted to play together, and much like the Sedin brothers, and you certainly have to respect that. So we told them at our meeting with them a month ago that if they were there in the right round, we would draft them, and we thought as the draft unfolded that perhaps they would slip through, and we wouldn't get a chance to get a crack at them. But we were fortunate that they were still there, and they're Moncton Wildcats, and we're happy about that.
The book on those guys is that they are very, very competitive and very good together.
No question, and they're very, very smart. Their hockey sense is by far their best quality, and they've scored at every level and been on winning teams at every level. And I watched them play probably 15 times this year. I went out to the TELUS Cup and watched them against the best teams in the country, and their hockey sense and their skill is major A level. And we think with time that they're going to mature into very good offensive players for the Wildcats.
And you went all the way down the draft. I mean, there was very little that was passed up in any of the rounds.
Well, we had a lot of picks, so we were able to, we think even in the 6th and 7th round, we took a defenseman named Guy from Newfoundland, who's an Andrew McDonald type defenseman, who's a tall, thin defenseman that we think has lots of hockey sense and good feet, and much like he reminded me of Andrew McDonald at the same age. So we're hoping that down the road he becomes a very good player for us. We took a 7th-round pick, Matt Toma from Frederick Midgets, who's a tough, hard-nosed kid that's going to give us some presence. We took Pridham in the 7th round as well. It was a good stay-at-home D at Netherwood. So we thought we had a good blend of skill and grit, and when we had the number of picks that we had, we could try and fill some holes, and we were very pleased with the way it came together.
If there was a surprise in the day, it was that there was no blockbuster.
Well, I think there was a couple trades made the day or two before, especially Luke Adam going, but at this time of the year, which is that everybody's in first place, everybody likes their team. Most top-end guys aren't usually moved till Christmas unless they're unhappy or unless the team really needs to change their chemistry. So we talked to a number of teams about potential top-end guys that might be available, and there's a couple that I think will be available for sure at Christmas. But teams are reluctant right now to move guys in the summertime. They usually wait till Christmas when everything heats up.
So your strategy from here to training camp and beyond?
Well, we got to prepare for the European draft. That's the next thing on the blocks, and that is by far the most difficult thing we do. It's more of a free agency than a draft, and there's so many uncertainties and so many variables. It makes it really tough. But we traded up to 7th overall with Lewiston's pick. It really puts us in the money to get a top end guy. Having said that, getting a good player here and landing them in Moncton and things, there's so many variables that come into play. We thought last year picking 5, we had Voynov who would come in and be the best D in the league, and he would have been, but he ended up slipping into the American League, and LA elected not to put him here. So it's a very, very challenging thing. So we felt it was worthwhile, though. We had a lot of picks, and we said let's move up from the 90s, to 7. And let's see if we can try and get a real good older player that would help our team right now.
Okay, and it's hard to believe, but we're just a little over 2 months away from training camp.
Well, training camp starts August 15th, which is real early. But because of CEGEP and the Quebec League, that's why you start so early. But as I said, it's just around the corner, and with the Euro draft finishing up the first part of June, the last part of June rather, you're hitting July 1st, and you're 6 weeks from camp. So, as I always say, it's the warm hockey season and the cold hockey season.
And you're going to the NHL draft?
We'll go. That's an important part of our calendar because especially with the European draft and especially with American kids and trying to find out what happens with your kids as far as 20-year-olds, there's a lot of things that you're involved in rather than just sitting back and you're hoping for your kids and for their dream to come true, but there's a lot of Wildcat business that's done at that draft as well.
We've done this too many times. You're starting to read my mind because I was going to wrap it up with this thought. As I looked around today, and I'm sure as you looked around, what you saw was a lot of dreams.
No question. This is the second most important day on the junior hockey calendar. Memorial Cup Sunday is the most important day, and this is the second most important because this is where, if you ever want to dream of winning the Memorial Cup, you got to build your team on a day like today. So a lot of dreams start for the teams, a lot of dreams start for the kids, a lot of dreams start for the fans. So it was a great day. The organizational committee did a fantastic job. They've taken the bar and lifted it as high as anyone can see. And hopefully Drummondville next year will take it another step. And this is an NHL draft in a major junior city. You
got that right. Always a pleasure to talk with Danny Flynn, the head coach and the director of hockey operations with the Moncton Wildcats. The draft is over. The fun begins August 15th.